So really quick, we collected at the last meeting, I'm sorry, last week, not yesterday's meeting, but last week's meeting in Santa Rosa, we collected $75 on people's phones ringing. Yeah, well, the meeting is heavy on this side today.
I just
so it's $25 if it rings, it's $100 if you answer it, and if it vibrates and we hear it, it's the same as a ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up.
Mine's not even in here.
Yeah, we changed all that. Well, and you know, it's because we're trying to collect money. KW cares. I mean, it's about revenue. It's the same thing. It's like a red light camera, right? What's it really about? It's about revenue.
They're getting rid of.
Exactly. So you put it on airplane mode.
Yeah.
See?
Hope an alarm won't go off. An alarm goes off, it's okay?
No. No noise. In fact, we got money from somebody last week who had a laptop sitting there because their laptop made noise. It's no different. It's the same thing, right? We love this stuff. All right. So this is coming up on this coming Monday. Profit share has become a big deal. And some of you guys know it because some of you guys looked in your accounts on the 21st and you know it's a big deal. It's an opportune time to have the regional director, Tony Brody's coming over, and he's going to be in the Santa Rosa office at noon for the meeting. You guys are going to want to be there for that. It's the most clear, concise explanation of the nuts and bolts and everything about how profit share works, what the numbers breakdown is, and he walks you through the entire process. It's kind of powerful to know that, just because, especially when you hear some of the profit share numbers. Patty walked in today all excited because she had $500 and some odd deposited in her account on the 21st. Nice. There's some other people that got some numbers in here. Rick, you want to talk about profit share?
He just told me.
Yeah.
I got a big number. Number. I've never gotten that number before. It's pretty shocking.
Well, you know what's interesting is the office has never gotten the number that we got in May before. It was our biggest profit month in the history of this company in May. And we're looking, I just talked to Dennis, we're looking at another record month in June. Now, a lot of that has to do with the market. Market's, changing right. Everybody knows the market's changing. Who notices that the market's changing right now?
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody notices that. In fact, Jim and I were just talking about, even in the 400 and under price range, not in Petaluma, but in like Rohnert Park, Cotati, Santa Rosa, and stuff like that, some of that stuff is sitting on the market a little longer. The stuff that's coming up in that price range seems to look a little nicer. Sellers are trying a little harder, and a little more time on the market. So as the market balances out, that's going to increase the number of transactions, and that's what we get paid on, right? So that's pretty cool. You're going to want to see this guy. It's not going to be boring. Yes, it's numbers, but it's the way he presents. It's fun and engaging, and you want to meet him anyway. The guy's a rock star. He was a team leader. He had a big real estate business in Dallas, Fort Worth, and his dad, Mike Brody, is one of the people that owns this region with Dick Dillingham. And then he was a team leader in Austin Southwest and with 600 and some odd agents, rock star recruiter. And then just moved him into the regional director spot a little over a year ago. And he lives in Palo Alto.
This is our
new regional director, who you may not have met yet.
I have not met.
Yeah, I really like the guy. Young guy, dynamic, and he's all about, he's all over me about growing the offices. So, and I like the way he trains and coaches and stuff. So you'll like this guy. Let's talk about successes between last week and this week. Who's got a success they want to share between last week and this week? Ed.
I had a very traditional presentation to my listing, and it was done so professional by Mr. Barton Smith.
Oh yeah?
And my client is a very touchy-feely, emotional, loves her house, just did everything her way, and she didn't want to leave, but she has to for finances. She wanted somebody who loves her house, and that was the key. And Barton tuned in on that, hit it, and talked about his family, and came in under asking price, but she said yes before he even asked her.
Nice. So
we got an escrow.
So your listing, he presented his offer with you present to the sellers in person. Nice.
There's three weeks worth of work to get her down from her original 625 down to where we're in contract.
Right. Way to go, you guys.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
It was amazingly supportive and really, really fun to be there together on that. It was just, super honest, straightforward. Here are the numbers. Here's where we need to be. We have a perfect situation. And I almost stopped and just said, "Boy, you ready to sign?" I almost stopped. I felt the energy to do so, and I didn't. I went through one more, and then, like Ed said, she went I'm gonna sign. It was so
Yeah.
cool, because it's like, I thought, oh, I should have just stopped right then, just asked. And then literally 2 minutes later, she says, I'm gonna sign.
That's fantastic. There's a bunch of different sales that take place in a real estate deal, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing for you was getting the listing, right? Well, the first sale was get the appointment, right? Then you get the appointment, what's the next close?
The listing.
Get the listing, well, what's the next close?
Well,
Price, right?
Price too.
No, that's on the listing.
Yeah.
It's on the listing, because that's another little sale within there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting how many sales we have. And you guys have to sell each other stuff sometimes too. Don't
Yeah.
get real estate agents that sell each other all kinds
I
of stuff.
sold her on Barton.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Yeah,
right about that.
right.
Sometimes you intuitively think you have the deal, right? That
Mhm.
You're our agent. Oh yeah, sorry, we gotta hone in on price. You know,
Yeah.
that's another, sometimes that is a separate sale in the listing. It doesn't, you need to confirm the listing with the price,
Mhm.
but emotionally, there's a sale that happens when they decide to work with you. Then there's that decision, I mean, sometimes it comes later on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Agreeing on price.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what's interesting about that? Everybody in all these sales situations, all the top hitters always talk about, hey, well, I'm just not attached to the outcome. How attached to the outcome are you in the price, the listing price sale portion of the listing? Who owns that price?
Not
They do.
you.
Right, think about that though.
That's a great question, because so
Yeah.
often, I went to look at a listing on Eli, and the agent was sitting there talking about how it was overpriced. Their agent, overpriced, blaming the seller.
Mm-hmm,
And I'm like, really? You took the listing.
yeah,
You own the price, not the seller.
yeah, yeah. Well, the person who owns the
I
price.
didn't say that, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking that, right?
Yeah. Who determines the price?
The buyers.
Market.
Well, the buyer and seller together.
The market, yeah, right. I mean, basically, the market determines the price. There is no buyer that's gonna go in and overpay for a property, because you can make the argument that if they do, then that's what it's
Not
worth.
true, we're seeing it all the time right now.
Yeah, but then, what I'm saying is you can make the argument
Are they
that if
overpaying?
somebody's willing to pay that, that's what it's worth,
Are
right?
they writing for the asking price, or are they
just-
overpaying?
Let's just say that if somebody goes in and writes an offer, multiple offers, and it still doesn't appraise, even with the multiple offers,
Mhm.
then they're overpaying.
Then in theory, they're overpaying.
Yeah.
In theory, they are, yeah. Or in theory, the
Not
market
necessarily.
is smarter than the bank,
Yes, that happens.
or dumber than the bank.
You're right.
Like in
Depending on the
2005.
Sure. Yeah.
So, so all the reason I brought that up is because it's interesting how attached we get as listing agents in the price conversation, attached to that outcome, attached to the price, as if almost we own it, as if it's gonna be a negotiation between you and your seller about the price.
Well, we know we earn half our commission at that to raise
That's
the
not
price.
what it
Yeah.
stands for, though.
Yeah, what's that?
I mean, it's a moving target, I think, the price. I mean, particularly
Sure it is.
if you sign a listing months in advance,
Absolutely it
then,
is.
you know you're gonna talk about it again.
Yeah, and why not have that discussion with them when you sign the listing and just say, you know,
Right.
when you keep an eye on what's going on in the market and the price is a moving target, right? That's really cool. Who else has a success they don't share? That's really cool.
And I was thinking, this lady, if she would've held out, could have maybe gotten more money.
Mhm.
But back to what we talked about a few meetings back,
Mhm.
the why she had to sell,
Mhm.
and getting to the why.
Mhm.
This lady was out of money, she couldn't maintain her house anymore, and
Mhm.
no matter what, she kept saying for 3 weeks, I'm not taking any less than this.
She was
I'm
motivated.
not, I can't.
Yeah,
I knew I didn't have to battle her about that number, because it was all gonna come down to,
right,
she's gonna take something
yeah,
and run.
right.
Now
It
she's
is-
And he was 40,000 under her asking.
Right,
She took it.
right. Awesome, awesome. Hang on real quick, Jim. He had to send it next.
Yeah, we had an open house on Adobe Creek.
Yeah?
We had 50 groups come through.
50.
And that was precipitated by, we walked the neighborhood
Nice.
Friday and Saturday, took out, instead of mailing the actual cards,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
talked to people, handed it. 3/4 of the people were there.
Nice.
Non-resident people,
Mm-hmm.
we mailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Got a call in, a lead, they need to sell.
Yeah.
I got another person we have 3 leads in that subdivision
Mm-hmm.
that could be real sellers.
Yeah, and because you went out and walked the neighborhood and you were with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it was pretty interesting, and they said nobody had done that in that subdivision.
yeah, that's fantastic.
Awesome.
Way to go. Jim?
Just a
They're
question.
thinking that Gary owns that subdivision.
I know, and here's the story,
thinks he
Gary
does.
Brown,
He does own it.
Gary Brown owned it, and they kept on saying, hey, we'd like to see a new blood in here.
Yeah,
It was pretty interesting, an alternative, that kind of thing, so.
You guys know what happens when a listing agent owns a subdivision, right? A lot of times they no longer do what they did to own it.
Yeah.
Right.
And owning it is what? Max market share is what?
20%.
20%. You're never gonna get more than that. If you do, it's gravy and it won't last, right? But 20% is huge. 20% market
It
share.
still means it's 80% left all the time.
There's always 80% left.
Sounds like my neighborhood.
And also, the people in that subdivision have a certain amount of listing agent, subdivision owner guy fatigue, right? They get mailings from them, they see them a lot, they're
Right.
sick of seeing their signs. Maybe somebody had a deal that wasn't so great and went around talking all kinds of stuff about them. Not that it was true, doesn't really matter for you. There's always opportunity in there. Don't be scared of a subdivision that you think somebody big owns it. Yeah, it's a lot of times not very hard to take it away, and by the time you've taken a huge bite of their market share, they don't even know it for a while, you know? So, interesting, way to go on that. That's 50 groups,
50 groups.
that's awesome,
Wow.
I
fantastic.
mean, the house looked like hadn't been cleaned for a month.
Yeah,
They had to go and had the floors re-vacuumed, it was all trampled down. I mean, it was
Yeah.
unbelievable. It was Grand Central Station, and interesting, it was like a family reunion. People
Yeah.
would come on over to chit chat and say, how you doing?
oh, isn't that great? The neighbors
my
go, oh, I didn't
God.
know you were coming by here.
And, oh, hey, our house is the reverse side of this, you gotta come over and look at it, you know, that
Yeah.
kind of dialogue. I mean, that was just
Yeah.
super.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's like a leveraged lead generation opportunity.
Yeah.
For you guys that are in bold, that's like a way to put it in one spot and
Yeah.
get 50 contacts.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
So, but I had an
Yeah.
open house, I had scheduled with everybody except the seller. And then, that didn't work out because she had a birthday for her 2-year-old
Oh,
that day, and
bummer.
so I had to cancel.
Yeah.
But luckily I'd still done my lead gen, but I was really counting on, getting 20 contacts that day, and,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then I called her on Friday, and she's all, yeah, no, you can't, I'm all, oh.
Yeah, the key to the
Cancel everything!
The key to the 20 contacts a week is to try to make them by Wednesday.
Day.
I'm sorry,
20
a day.
contacts a day.
Is to try to have them done in like less than a week. You know what I mean? So that you're
Oh, yeah,
stay
totally.
ahead.
I like to drag it out.
Jim, really quick. Jim's had his hand for a while.
No, sorry, 265 Edinburgh, we went into contract yesterday, our offer got accepted, so.
Nice.
And also, I had a question back to what Barton did. When in real estate did we get away from the buyers coming in, their agent coming in and making offers to the seller directly? I know when I bought my
Started in
house.
the early 90s with a lot when faxing and email became super, super prevalent.
Yeah, we didn't have that here, though. I mean, it was.
It was the multiple
It was the recession and the banks.
Yeah.
You can't sit down with the banks,
Yeah.
and short sales, and the big-time multiple offers.
Mhm.
It's hard to have the client sit down with 14 different
Right.
agents on a multiple offer, so it slowly but surely matriculated, I guess. And then, gosh, from like 2007 to 2009, probably was 80% short sales and foreclosures.
50.
Yeah.
60.
Is that something you think that's gone, or is this, because I mean, this
No, I
kind
think
of
it's an
sounds like.
opportunity.
I actually think it's coming back.
I think it's an opportunity. Especially in
Once we get
all-
away from once we start getting 1, 2, 3 or offers, we're gonna get back to presenting offers.
Oh, yeah. In multiple offer situations, when I was selling in Sacramento, I'd have a listing and there's like 9 offers, and I'd have agents call me saying, I'd like to present my offer directly to the seller. Are you gonna schedule that, will the seller agree to that? We constantly were using conference rooms and having people come in for 20-minute back-to-back until we get them through. And we loved it, and the sellers loved it. I loved it as a listing agent, because especially if I had my own offer. Because there was no they knew there was no hanky-panky going on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't see why more selling agents don't do that in multiple offer situations. And congratulations on going the extra mile on that, because you got your client that property by doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And it could live with that and support, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teamwork on that one, which is the fun part. The team effort is the fun part, for
Yeah,
sure.
you bet. You know what else did it too? Is digital signatures too. A lot of that, so it's like.
Oh, step
like
away.
it's
I just got a
losing
bad
contact.
review because of that,
You did?
The what?
Because of what?
because of digital signatures and just the hands-off,
Mm-hmm.
the listing that I saw them at the listing appointment, and I don't think I ever saw them again.
Yeah,
Never
close
got
their
it.
listing, right? But
Oh, yeah, close the deal, sure.
never forgot what you looked like.
Talked to him on the phone a couple times, but I had an attorney in there, I had Sally Ann in there, and they
Mhm.
kind of barely talked to me, and it was like, ugh. It was, she gave me an 8 out of 10, but
Mhm.
that's,
That's not a bad review, but it
that's a
could have
bad
been
review in
better.
my eyes.
Yeah.
A 10 is the only acceptable review.
Yeah, you.
But the
okay.
comments were, we've sold 8 houses, bought and sold 8 houses, and this one felt a little impersonal. I guess she goes, I guess it's because of DocuSign, which I know things change, and but that's bullshit. I mean, if she felt like it wasn't good, then it wasn't good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know,
Hang on 1 second, because Steve had his hand up on his back, and I haven't got to him yet.
Oh, he just got multiple offers on Oak Street in Sonoma and got it in escrow.
Awesome. There you go. 1 second.
I
Yes?
just want to piggyback on what he was talking about DocuSign. Our last one we closed, we got to go back and get all new wet signatures.
Yeah?
I mean, so
Because
some lenders are
Which
accepting.
bank was that?
It was an online lender.
Okay.
That's funny.
So-
That
I think
is
that's
our
pretty
bank.
funny.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that cracks
But-
me up about that. If you don't have the wet signature notarized, it's no more
Yeah.
valid.
But it isn't
digital
notarized.
signature.
It's notarized through, Keller Williams has a capability that says those wet signatures are. So even we went through that mile and we still had to go through and
Yeah, it's
redo
pretty funny.
everything.
I think it's funny.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, yeah.
New buyers, showed them one house. I showed them one house that had been on the market for a while, I knew it was the house for them, asked them all the right questions, showed them one more house. Anyway, to make a long story short, they just lifted their inspection contingencies. There's a 5-day inspection period.
Nice.
Nice.
Which sucks, it's too short.
Yeah, that's
Especially when there's 4 signers, you're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So it took 7 days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
then we lifted loan and appraisal Thursday, and they closed on the 16th
Nice,
of July.
nice. Way to go. Feels good, huh? July 16th, you said? Fantastic.
And it was a referral from another agent, so that's fine, but it's like an $850,000 house, so I'm.
So it's a
okay
kind of
with
a
that.
decent deal.
And it's a great lead,
Yeah.
because it's a guy who's, anyway, just a good family.
Great client to have. Excellent, fantastic. Yes, Parker. Everybody get one of these?
No.
Oh, sorry, backwards.
Pass it back there.
50 now.
So we got short-tail approval on Madeira.
Mhm.
People coming at first as Madeira Street. That was just like sassy.
Pull that
Throw
in
it
the
out.
friggin' car. Actually said that to somebody on the phone. Who do you think you are? They keep talking like that.
No, it's
Thank you.
And then some buyers that I was working with, maybe I mentioned this, anyway, they went into contract on a brand new home. Last Thursday, they went into contract on a brand new home, which is nice, somebody that I've been working with just for about a month and a half, 2 months.
Nice.
So yeah, it's kind of cool to take them to a brand new subdivision, sign everything up, and then kind of like
Walk away.
change that over.
Yeah, don't you love that?
Yeah.
I love selling new homes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So they signed up officially on Thursday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Walk them in, wait for your check.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick. Nice. Good way to button your lip.
That made it almost like, he almost came out of his chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Jeanette McFall had a short sale.
Uh-huh.
We were 3 months waiting for approval, so we just got it 2 days ago, and they gave us 10 days to close.
Oh, jeez.
Don't you love that? Here's the approval letter, it's 10-day close.
You can do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
And if you want that, usually
Cash deal.
Even more days. But that's great, there you go.
This is just outside of our office, but Upham, anybody see Upham?
Yes.
Okay, I just, this year really quick, I researched a little bit, it was 21 offers on Upham, and it was, I think the agent I spoke to, she wrote it 465.
And she got it.
She did not get it.
Yeah, I think that's had to go to a 500, I think.
Where was it asking?
$399.
Too low.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. This is a great opportunity. When this happens, it's a great opportunity. Do you know how many internet leads I got from that one listing?
Oh, yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Who
that's
cares that you're not gonna sell? That's not the point. You get an appointment. Yeah, I'd love to meet you at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Great, yes.
And those
Yeah.
are internet leads that you captured from?
Yeah.
Through Truly or Zillow or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah,
You're doing
yeah,
ads
yeah.
on there, that's why?
No ads.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see. Just-
And when a house like that comes on the market, I mean, because you're also a realtor and that person's a member of the board, you can advertise that property, you just can't say it's your listing, right?
Right.
Right, but I mean, I'm just saying, even without doing anything, just
Yeah.
have people.
They found it elsewhere and called Rick.
Yeah.
But you know, that I'm impressed by that, but honestly, part of me thinks that agent created so much extra work for so many people, and put out such an energy of like, there's 19 people out there that didn't need to write an offer, you know?
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
they
you
got
know,
more
I
money
mean,
for selling it that way.
I guess it just depends on which way you wanna look at
No,
it.
it is completely, and that's why I say I appreciate what you end up receiving on
Yeah.
that, but there's also, a handful of people.
I'm not so sure they got more money for the seller that way.
As long
I think
as,
they
well,
could've gone for
here's what they can be
5.
certain of.
Went too low.
well, I don't know, here's what they can be certain of. As long as the listing agent's diligent about not selling the property, just slamming it into contract with the first one that comes in.
Right.
As long as they have an offer review period, and there's no one left in the market who would not buy the property that does not know it's for sale, which is kind of part of the script in a listing appointment anyway, then can you really underprice a property?
Nope.
I don't think you can. You could put it on for $1, and it'll just make news, right? Even, send out a press release if you ever do that.
You've been doing that
Yeah, I'm
in
doing that
San
on-
Francisco for a long time.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that. And in a market, let's be honest, how many of you guys know exactly what your listing's gonna sell for? Nobody.
Nope.
So let's be honest, I
You
mean,
get a
if you have
pretty
a
damn
property
good feel for
or
it, though.
Huh?
You get a pretty damn good feel for it.
You can get a feel for it within a range,
Yep.
and I'm sure they knew within a range what it was gonna go for.
And you know what, that house had problems, it was on a busier street, there was issues with it, so, I mean.
Hard to pin down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so Dick, right, is that,
Dick
Yeah,
Burton,
Burton.
yeah,
Burton,
I mean, the guy's been a realtor for 50 years.
Yeah,
He knows what he's doing.
yeah, I've dramatically underpriced properties
He may have
before on
forgotten
purpose
what he
because
did.
I
He may have
didn't
forgotten what he
know
did, yeah.
I didn't know how to take into account some issues with the property. I didn't know what value to give to, oh, it's got this, or it needs a new sewer line, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, whatever. So I would dramatically underprice the property. I would advise the seller to do this and say, hey, we're gonna have an offer review period. When we knew we were in a situation where there was gonna be multiple offers.
Right.
Because, hey, let's let the market tell us what it's worth.
I mean, if
Right.
anyone in this office has an issue, this is a support team, right? We have our colleagues ask
Yeah, you
for
bet.
support, so just
Absolutely.
ask.
This is a great conversation. Got 2 properties coming up and have trouble pinning down a price on. And also, I think it's the buyer's agent, selling agent that need to be responsible for saying, hey, there's X number of offers going in on this. Do you want to invest your time and, give them an idea of where the price range is as a representative of the buyer? The buyer makes the choice as to whether or not they write and get engaged in that.
Yeah, you bet.
environment. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's, and there's different opinions on that in the real estate community, and you'll hear them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
So what's the nationwide study about? What's the better strategy? Underprice, get more people in, price it at
I
market
have no
value?
idea. Yeah, I don't, that'd be really difficult to quantify.
It's probably our property dependent. It's
I would
probably one
imagine it's
variable.
market and property dependent. I mean, I can't imagine
The
doing
problem is,
that.
I can
it's
see it
inefficient.
fail.
The real estate market's an inefficient market because there's too much subjectivity to it. Nothing is, if everything was the same, if it was like a stock, if it was Apple stock, which is
Right.
inefficient, then it's worth $600 today, $625 tomorrow, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But with houses, there's too many different variables, so there's no efficiency to it, therefore you can't have studies that determine what's the most
And then
effective way.
Unless it's a condo or a tract house, it's like,
Even
Yeah,
then, there's
even
differences.
then, it's hard to quantify the variables.
And then you have the big variable, and it's the buyer. You don't know what motivation they have.
Or which buyer's in the pool at the right time.
Right?
Yeah, timing, even model matches in a brand new subdivision face different ways and are on, different looking lots. And, a lot of stuff changes. There's so much stuff that you
For
can't
how long
quantify.
somebody's been
I mean, I don't know,
looking.
it wouldn't hurt
How
to
many-
see
how
if you
many
could find
offers they've
studies
been
like that.
refused on?
I just think it'd be.
That's a big one.
I would be interested to know how they took account of those variables and what they, how they quantified those variables.
so you.
But yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have-
that's good stuff. I've got a listing out that's going on the market later today or first thing in the morning in Glen Allen, and, we're just under the $1 million threshold, and we're really wrestling with whether we should go over or not. Zillow has a huge number on it because of the, but this borders Highway 12, so it doesn't take enough, I don't think, Zillow takes enough account. If you're 4 parcels in on these 2-acre parcels, you're a little bit further away from that road.
Right,
And that's a couple $100,000, and you're talking this kind of numbers.
yeah.
And then plus this house needs work. So we were wrestling going like bump it to $1,065,000 after fine tuning the property. Go, oh, it looks a lot better than it did when we first started. But we decided to go ahead and keep it under the mill and $995 and see, let the market take it. We have a 3-month-old appraisal at 1.1, a 4-month-old
Yeah.
appraisal at 1.1. So
Yeah, that's
we
probably
expect to
smart.
get 1.1,
Yeah.
but like I told my clients, I said, not only do you want the best price, but you want so much interest that you get the best buyer.
Yeah, you don't just get great price, you get better terms, you get all kinds of
Yeah,
good stuff.
absolutely.
Let's be clear about that. When, there's some specific dialogue you can have around that with your sellers when you're doing that, right? And that, because you don't ever want to, I mean, you look really bad if you throw a party and nobody comes, right? If you're like, oh, if we price it here, we're going to do this, and you're going to get multiple offers and blah, blah, blah. But you can say things like you just said, why don't we put it here so that what we know is it has an attractive price, and then we'll see what the market brings us.
Right.
it's possible that the market, if the market brings us one, if the market doesn't bring us anybody, then that's the market talking to us about our price. If the market brings us one buyer, then that's the buyer that wants to, negotiate at that price. If the market brings us more than one buyer, then we'll see where the market takes us. But I would never get married to the fact that, well, if we keep it under $1 million, man, we're really, we'll just let the market take you through the roof. We're gonna have multiple offers because, you could paint yourself into a corner with that one.
Yeah.
Right?
And we're gonna market ours through 4th of July weekend, and then look at offers after that. So.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome, fantastic. Who else has a success they want to share from last week to this? God, this was a good conversation. This was like a little mastermind.
Well, this was sort of the conversation I had with my clients with the $9.95 price.
Yeah.
Can you price it too low? Is there such a thing?
Yeah, yeah. This is, to me, this is the most valuable stuff that happens in here. Is when you get all, like a bunch of smart people in a room that know how to do business, and they're all talking, and they have different perspectives and everything. The McCall team's doing this every Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning in the East office. They get out of their coaching call at 8 o'clock, and at about 8:05, everybody shows up there, and that room is full, right? Everybody shows up there, and they put on Agent Mountain, and they go over, like, right now they're working on buyer presentations, getting a buyer broker agreement, and that kind of stuff, and they go over that stuff, and you should hear the interaction in there with people who do business and have encountered issues and stuff. It's really, really cool. Be worth your time to check it out. I know it's far.
He said 8 a.m. on Thursday.
8 a.m. on Thursdays in the East office.
Not for a while, but keep it up.
Yeah, East office. Really cool. All right, how about, does anybody have a listing that's coming, that's not currently on the market, that they want to let everybody know about? Yes.
I'm going to pre-listing review this afternoon in Novato.
Okay.
It's a duet on San Marin Drive, so we're going to take a look at its condition.
Cool.
Maybe, so, know more next week.
Shared driveway?
Yes, it has a,
2 garages are next to each other, I think?
yeah, I think there's an entrance that services like 4 units, 4 duets, if I look at it from Google. I'm gonna see it this afternoon,
Oh,
so.
it's different.
So it's about, it's the San Marin Drive, there's a number of them that goes up, and there's some on some lateral streets also.
They must look like a little frontage road right there.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere in the $500,000, depending on
While we're on
condition.
Marin,
Hmm?
yesterday's paper, day before yesterday, IJ, Independent Journal, very strong talk that every resale will require a sewer lateral repair if needed. Require it, and any remodel. Is
So it
gonna
requires
the
an
sewer lateral.
inspection?
No repair, he said.
Yeah, that's what it's expected and repaired if, before they'll allow escrow to close.
Are they gonna ask for a scoping on each transaction?
Yes.
Oh my God.
They already do on most of them in Marin. They already do, but now they're saying that it's
Rapid
remodel.
It's gonna be a POS requirement.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and they will hold up an escrow if it's not completed.
That's what we know now.
So that'll be an inspection to start with.
Right.
That's a
Yeah,
quack.
Yeah, I mean, the seller doesn't have to pay for the inspection if they don't want to, but, we had a sewer lateral in my Ramona Way property, and there's some kind of obstruction in there, could be a big root. And if it's a big root, it's a $15,000 fix.
15 grand.
Gotta pull up the sidewalk.
Oh, they can't do trenchless?
No, you can't do that in Nevada either, I'm told now.
Whoa, what?
You can't do trenchless in Nevada, really?
That's
I
ridiculous.
mean, I wouldn't know. I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, they
Yeah, we could drag the pig through there, and it breaks up the old line and puts the new line in.
Yeah, they're saying that now, we're gonna double check that, but I know there was an article about it a few months ago, and my client said that that's what the article said. I read the article, I didn't.
I did not see that in my paper and I live there, but, I mean, Oakland has an addendum where you can,
That's ridiculous.
Oakland has an addendum where you have to get the sewer lateral inspection, find out what it costs, and then as a seller, you can determine how you wanna present it to the public, whether you're gonna pass it on to the buyer, then they have X amount of days to do it, like 90 days. But the idea that you have to do it within the escrow, I'll be curious to see if that flies, cause
Yeah,
that's,
no kidding.
And
that's very
it's a county,
contentious.
that'll be
I
a
get
county
that.
deal,
No,
not that.
So it hasn't been implemented though yet.
No, just, they're pretty strong talk on it. They, of course,
I'll sell it first.
you know, once they start getting really heavy into that, I mean, they've been talking about Sonoma County sewer
Right.
laterals.
Yeah, but we fought POS forever.
Yeah.
And,
And we need to help Marin out if they're looking at doing
Yeah,
it.
that's
That's
both
ridiculous.
right there.
That's why Marin has all of the city inspections too, we don't have any up here.
Right.
Did they say, did they talk about any sort of
Point of
public hearing?
I didn't read it completely.
So, but it's the Marin IJ?
Yeah, it was yesterday or the day before yesterday.
I'll go dig in my recycling bin.
Can I ask really, really super quick on the San Rafael thing and this transaction? The last time I sold property in San Rafael, it was having the inspection, but there was no requirement to complete anything on it from the city perspective.
There is, it depends on what is they find.
Just the caliber of what.
Correct.
So
There's
it was
certain things that are
unpermitted-
required to get done, and certain things that are not.
This was unpermitted bathroom, and they were fine with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they just take on, they're just taking on that risk.
Yeah, that's right, that's what all it was a buyer assessment of the situation.
Yeah, yeah, I just had that happen, because I goofed and I told my seller to get the inspection, he forgot, we closed escrow without the inspection.
Ah.
On Second Street, that one that was just, that was.
Sitting there forever, that
Yes,
one,
yes.
with your face up there?
Yes, that's right, that was the best part of that listing. Anyway, yeah, and so we got the inspection afterwards, what are you laughing at? And,
I got 'em.
Yeah.
I got mine on.
So, yeah,
Cool, okay,
we got it done, but it was.
awesome. Anybody else have something coming they want to share? Anybody else have a need, anything like that, Bart?
I just did 2 listings, the one on Keokuk I mentioned last week, 342 Keokuk, it's all cleaned up, it's ready to be seen now. I've got keys and access, it's vacant, so just give me a shout if you guys want to see 342 Keokuk, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot, 1915. And then I've
What's
got.
the price?
It's going to be below 6s. Again, it's, now that we have all the work done, now we have to go back and assess it. And then I've got 1493 Jasmine Circle in Roner Park, 1493. It's that cool little circle right by Sonoma State. It's a small section, the J section there. It backs to Snyder. So just over the big wall is, a main boulevard. And that's going to be probably right at 4, plus or minus a little bit on
Oh,
around 4.
thank God, I
Yeah.
sold somebody one of those right at the wrong time, and they were in the dumper for a while.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, they're back now.
Yeah.
There's one that just sold in Jasmine too, it was a really nice home, I think.
Yeah, did it close? Or went on?
Just
Yeah,
sold.
Just in contract.
They have a garage or carport?
Yeah, they have garage.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Garage.
1,300 square foot. 3
Garage is front, right, and then the units in the back?
It's a
One
full-on
car or
single-family
2?
residence, standard home.
1 or 2?
Oh, I'm thinking of, Jesus, no, now I'm not excited anymore. I like condos over there.
Jasmine Circle it's all single-family detached.
Yeah.
Yeah, standard, like
Now,
1980s
yeah, your people
built.
are still
So
setting
this-
eggs.
Interestingly enough, most of those are in the 70s, but this one's in 85. 1985.
Across the street from the community center.
Correct. Yep, yep,
Cool.
exactly. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to share for?
Can we go to Keokuk right after this meeting?
Yes, you can.
What's the correct pronunciation of Keokuk? How would you pronounce it?
Well, thank you very much for asking.
I'm just
I go with the standard on this one. It's too odd if I
I'm just
know.
messing with you.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm gonna fix everybody though on the pronunciation. Madeira.
Nothing, did you want something?
Steve had his hand. One sec, John.
Okay, we'll go. I didn't know if you.
No worries.
My seller on Candlewood, we're out looking for houses, 400, 430, somewhere in that range. Roner Park, Petaluma. We are in escrow on his house. He has till August 31st to move out. He'd rather move into something than a rental. And then a desperate need for rental in Petaluma. She can only go 1850, 2 bedrooms is fine, gotta have a yard, she has 2 dogs, they're German short hairs. And she's desperate to find something.
It seems like it would be really difficult to find.
Yeah, very difficult to find. We had one and she said it was too early and she didn't wanna go into it.
Send me an email, I'll give you Adam Duncan's phone number. Yeah, those guys have a bunch of stuff, and they got a bunch of stuff down here too, they're Pacific properties.
Okay.
So they might have something coming. A lot of times he'll tell you, because they want relationships with realtors.
Biggest problem is the dogs, but she will not give up the dogs, so.
Yeah.
Who is Adam Duncan?
He is one of the brokers for Pacific Properties, their own company. I like those guys.
In Santa Rosa?
Yeah, but they have a bunch of stuff all over the place. They got like 480 doors or something.
Actually, they're sites.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times, like with us, because I'm renting, and they were my partner, that's how I met them, right? And with us, that they'll like let us know when they have something coming. Hey, we got something coming, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and here's where it is, and here's what it's gonna price out at. It's not ready yet, but if you guys want it, because they know we're good. So if you have, it's good to have that relationship. Sure. Yeah. And they also like referrals, right? They'll pay you guys on referrals.
I think I just gave him 49 regions to rent.
Yeah, they pay you guys on referrals, and they'll give you a signed thing saying that they won't take the listing if the landlord goes to, if the person you refer to goes to sell it, they'll refer it to you.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
So
that's
they're
pretty
just a
cool.
rental house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And they, because they, otherwise, there are other people, they will rent them if they go to sell, there are other landlords, you know what I mean? Yeah, if you guys want, send me an email, I'll send you guys out his contact information. Anybody else have anything they want to share? You were gonna share something?
Well, I have my Glen Ellen, I don't know if anybody's got it, but that's a special property. Acre and 3/4 about. It's got a second unit that's got a 2-car garage, and it's supposed to be an auxiliary, kind of a pool house kind of a thing, but they converted into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath without permits, but it's so sweet. So we'll see how that all plays out. I'm trying to be real careful about how I market that and not get red flagged.
Yeah.
And then the main house is a 2,600 square foot Mediterranean. That's just a diamond in the rough. It needs a lot of work, but it's got a wide open floor plan, open beam ceilings, overlooks the pool, which can use some work. There's a lot of work needs to be done on this property, but it's right there in Arnold and Trinity Road, just off of Highway 12, just in God's country there. So, I mean, under $1 million. And Zillow put that property at 1.5. So we have an appraisal at 1.1, and we're on the market for 985, and seeing what the market does with it.
Awesome.
So, and then
So what's the address on it?
that is 88 Bonnie Way. And then I have the listing.
They
that's-
hired an appraiser?
there was a family squabble about some stuff, and so they hired an appraisal to finalize the trust and go on record on what that property was worth.
Cool.
Trust sale.
Yeah. The two co-trustees, one was the owner, and the other one's just the daughter. But all that being, and there was just some siblings that were contesting and all kinds of stuff, so they said, let's pay $500, $600 and get an appraisal.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then I got Pengrove here. We're having problems with the tenants, so we need to probably get a showing here and a showing there, but we're not quite ready to put it on the market and have problems with showing. So we gave the tenant 60 days notice. But somebody looking for something like what I got there, it's got a nice outbuilding, it's got a little studio rental, and then a big farmhouse. We're at 559, but you know, he's really worth the offers for sure.
Cool. Cool. Steve?
My 2 listings in Santa Rosa, Greenwich, the tenant tried to buy it, and he couldn't do it. So we're on the market. It's tough to show. It has to go through the tenant. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It's a little bit over 1,100 square feet. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, right next to a park. And at 329. I'm still surprised we haven't sold it yet.
Yeah.
At 329.
Is that the one with the hostile tenant, or the tenant that's tough to show?
The tenant, yeah, the tenant is,
Okay.
and they say they're open to everything, and I'm not getting any complaints, I'm just not getting any showings.
Right.
And then the other one on Dudley, 1509 Dudley, is vacant, easy to show. Kids just have a leak in the house, which we're gonna get fixed. So the water in the kitchen is turned off. But almost 1,500 square feet. She upgraded the kitchen. Everything was upgraded when she moved in 2006. So it's all in pretty good shape. It smells like dog. And so we lowered the price to $389, but simple mopping should take care of that part.
She sealed in the dog.
No, the carpets have to be pulled.
What kind of leak has he got?
Where they disconnected the ice machine, the ice maker from the
in the kitchen.
refrigerator, and he put a cap on it, and then things just sprayed all over the place. So
Okay, geez. Okay.
What's sorry, the quadrants on those 2?
the quadrants
Yes.
northwest Santa Rosa.
Northwest of both?
They're a couple of blocks apart.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
Address on Greenwich.
So here's what's going on. Yesterday we had Bold Download. We're going to do Bold Download here in just a few seconds. Bold tomorrow in Palo Alto.
Carpooling.
Carpooling. You guys get together on carpooling and all that stuff. I'm going to have you guys up here in a second.
You gonna flake on us again? I'm kidding.
God.
Stop it. I'll pick you up, of course.
The McCall Team Mastermind, it says 8:10, but you really ought to be there at 8 if you're gonna do that. Nothing is on the schedule right now on Friday, except for everybody's individual coaching appointments and stuff like that. The broker tip, I'm just gonna go real quick on this, and this is kind of timely because everybody read in the news day before yesterday. On Sunday, they came out with an in the news thing about what happened with Top Producer and
Oh, yeah.
and Realtor.com and all that stuff. You guys know what happened, right?
No, what happened?
No.
So it was a distributed denial of service attack, which is different than a regular denial of service attack. Typically, what the hacker will do is set up a server from an IP and then some spoofed IPs to hit the site, hit the server over and over again to knock it down. What they did here was they co-opted a bunch of other, his ears perked up, they co-opted a bunch of other computers by hacking into those as well, and created this gigantic attack on Move's servers. Took them down. So it took Top Producer down, it took Realtor.com down,
Wow.
and a bunch of other stuff for 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it coincidental that Trulia is thinking of buying Move at the same time?
Yeah, there's the conspiracy stuff out there. Andrew, you got anything to add to that?
You pretty much nailed it. Denial of service requests are basically when they populate a bunch of different IPs to overload the system with requests, where basically everyone's raising their hand at once, and the teacher that is Realtor.com goes, I can't handle this, and quits and goes back to preschool. That's the end of it.
That's
Yeah.
such a better.
Yeah, that's a
I
better
love
explanation than
that.
mine, thank you.
Not a problem.
So that's what happened there, and this specifically, this is a wire fraud scam alert. That you'll get some of this stuff from your title companies now too. I think they're all starting to send out stuff. We got this, here's the practice tips on this. So here's what's going on. There's a growing scheme in which buyers have received emails allegedly from an escrow company providing wire information for use by the buyer to transmit EMD, purchase money deposits for their transactions. Unfortunately, hackers intercept these escrow company emails and then alter the account information in the emails to redirect the buyer's funds to the hacker's account. The altered emails from the hacker appear to be genuine, containing the escrow company's email information and/or logos. When the buyers wire the funds pursuant to the altered instructions, their money disappears, usually to an offshore account with little chance of recovery. It appears that the hackers monitor email traffic of the escrow company or the buyer and thus are aware of the timing of the pending transactions. In reported instances, it was a buyer who was induced to misdirect their own funds. However, these hacked emails could conceivably be used to cause sellers who wire their proceeds to be victims as well. The practice tips are provide the attached alert. So you guys get what that means. Another advisory.
So basically, you almost gotta call them to get your wiring instructions.
Yeah,
Make sure
kind
you
of,
got
yeah,
it.
exactly. Provide the attached alert to sellers and buyers in all transactions and obtain a signed copy. At the same time, remind your clients to read the alert and take precautions when wiring any funds to or from escrow. If I was you guys, I'd be like, hey, you know, I get it that escrow company said they're gonna email you the wiring instructions. Give them a call and double check the wiring instructions with them before you wire the funds. Something like that. It probably says that in the advisory. Huh?
We should start putting the instructions in the freeway.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it too.
Put it in what?
Some do. I
Pre.
think.
Or some do, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't get your prelim before EMD.
Correct. Unless you pre-order it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, really quick, I was gonna play you guys a little bit of wisdom from Huey today. He actually, they did an interview with him about a 1 point, like less than 2 minute interview with him about his entrepreneurship and everything that he's built and what the guy's worth like 20 million, right? And everything that he's done. But I'm gonna skip that because we're running out of time on
He's playing next Wednesday in Petaluma.
And he's playing on July 2nd
No,
in Marin.
Oh, Marin, that's right.
Yeah, July 2nd in Marin. So everybody who's involved, get up here. Rick and Elizabeth and Shad ducked out, I think he has a meeting. So these guys are, you guys just went through what? Second step to bold, right?
Yep.
So talk to me. Tell me about, what I'd like to hear from you first, Elizabeth, is last week, what was your biggest aha that you got from last week's bold session?
From the session itself,
Yeah, from the session itself. Then we'll talk about some other stuff as well.
that I belonged in the room just like everyone else. In the
Really?
sense that I'm an agent and that's what I do.
Mhm.
So maybe seeing myself more as a professional
Yeah,
than I had before.
right?
Not doubting myself like I had before.
Awesome. Awesome. How about you, Barton? What was your biggest aha from last week's session?
Yeah, I don't know, to tell you the truth, I had a bunch of notes, man, there was a bunch of little stuff.
Mhm.
But at the moment's coming to mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
what about you, Rick?
Well, I don't know about Al Hodge, but definitely reminders, stuff, like
Stuff you get away from?
the 5 things that we get paid to do, which is lead generation, lead follow-up, go on an appointment, negotiating contracts, and practicing role play. That's it. Those are the 5 things.
Wait, we get paid to practice role play? Tell me how that is.
Because I do the role play, and then I use the role play on you, and then I get an appointment, and then I get a listing and sell a house.
That makes total sense. So you practice on somebody where if you screw it up, it's not gonna cost you money, right?
Correct.
And then that way when you use it on,
It's the real deal. Otherwise, it costs me money, because if I'm gonna practice on a real live client, that's like a football player, like not
I was just
practicing all
thinking
week,
about, I
and
was
then
doing a
like going
football
out.
player analogy right in my head.
yeah, so
You think about
what's that
all the
analogy?
professionals, I mean, all they do, they mostly practice, or like a band, a marching band is a great example, right?
Oh, yeah.
Practice, Jesus,
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
practice. And then finally, for like.
World Cup,
World Cup,
Yeah.
world stage.
yeah, yeah, it's all about practice first, right?
I want some more sports metaphors.
So everything,
Just a couple more.
so.
It's okay.
So a knitting person practices knitting before they go into world knitting competition, I'm sure.
Hot dog eating.
You're leaving me in stitches, man.
So, yeah, so that was a big thing. And then the other thing for me, it was the calendaring, and that you should order, you should, write out your calendar in this order. Events first, like stuff that needs to, events that you're gonna go on, Tom Ferry or home stuff or whatever. Then vacations, then family time, then date night, then exercise, and then your lead gen and business operation stuff.
You
And
build your business in around that.
that's right.
Right.
So that you're having a lifestyle. It's not just, this is really important for me, because otherwise I just work 60 hours a week and I don't schedule any of that time. So
Yeah.
that was great to go through like 5 things to put on before I do anything about work.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting, because I constantly get pushback on that in coaching and stuff on time blocking, and the people who push back, everyone pushes back, but the people who push back the hardest are the ones who just refuse to treat their personal appointments as if they're as important as $1 million listing appointment. They won't do it. They'll give up stuff, they'll drop that ball in favor of the urgency things that are going on in their business. And that makes time blocking not work. And if you schedule it around your personal stuff, you'll have the opportunity to do that. Whether you will do it depends on your mindset. Is that workout a $1 million listing appointment? Is date night a $1 million listing appointment?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Yeah, awesome. So talk to us about, so what do you have, not all these guys know what's going on with Bold. What do you have to do as a Boldy? Yes?
So 100 calls a
No.
week?
Nope.
What do you mean?
100 what a week?
Contacts.
Yeah, what's the difference between a call and a contact?
You can't leave a message.
You can leave a message, it doesn't count
It
as
doesn't count as
contact.
contact.
Yeah,
No emails, no text.
Hey,
100 a week?
It's not very hard.
100 conversations a week, doesn't have to be a phone call. Could be a live, could be door knocking, it could be, yeah.
it could be you standing in front of, 18 people at one time in the entryway of that open house you did, asking them for business. As long as you what? Don't you have to ask for business?
You have to ask for business.
Absolutely.
Or it does not count as a
Appointment
contact?
or referral.
And thank you, because it can be a rapport builder, right? And you have to ask for,
And somewhere in there, you gotta say, by the way, who do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, can we meet for an appointment? Yeah.
Right, so you have to ask.
So even if you're calling a follow-up person, that's okay, as long as,
You ask them for that.
right, oh, well, no, to me, if it's somebody you've never had an appointment with, then it's asking for the appointment. If it's somebody that you've had appointments with, somebody you showed a bunch of houses to, then you have to ask for who else, who do you know?
It could be somebody you're gonna deal with.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, how do you feel about our service so far?
Yeah.
Oh, Roy, you guys are great. Hey, listen, the reason we're able to provide you with that kind of service is because we don't spend our time letter writing, door knocking, cold calling like all the real estate agents do. We rely on those that we work for.
Yeah.
That's not really true.
Nobody.
It's actually
Yeah.
just for doing door knocking.
Yeah.
no,
Right, but you get it, like that's a script to get a current
So-
client referral.
that is.
I have two good stories.
Yeah, let's
about
hear it.
That, because to me, I'm not a 20 contact a day person. Not comfortable for me, right? This is way out of my comfort zone. I told Roy before we started, I'm like, really worried about this. And I already do a lot of business. I got plenty of things to do, to keep myself busy and whatever else. So it was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this.
Mhm.
So we leave Bold last week, Bart and I, and we made we do calls actually in the class, right? But we still gotta make 20 contacts that day. Well, we have to drive 2 hours, right? Everybody, after the rest of the class is in, they live in Palo Alto. We have 2 hours down, 2 hours back, right? So we got 4 hours of drive time, which means I'm stuck with him. And,
Tomorrow.
and so as you know, as we're driving home, and I have a new plan for tomorrow, but, you know, it's like, hey, calls are coming in. There's certain calls that just need to be made. In my mind, why am I limiting it to this list of people that I've already, it's like, why don't I just have this conversation with every single person I come in contact with?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that, right?
Why don't you walk in and ask Jill if she knows anybody?
I did do that.
There you
The
go.
very first thing I did was I asked Jill.
And that was one of your 20?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I only did it once, but yeah, when we first got back from Wolf, not this week.
Mhm.
So we're on the way home, my daughter calls, she's 11, Sophie. She says, Daddy, no, she was on speaker, right? Barton's with
Yes, she was.
Daddy, Nick is not here to pick us up from day camp. And she's freaking out, right? I go, oh, baby, I said, Nick, I'll make sure that Nick's there. By the way, we're taking this great class right now, and we're having a contest to see who can generate the most referrals. Barton's cracking up, and he's looking like, you can't count that he's trying to do. And I'm like,
That's your teacher.
and I said, so who do you know that's thinking about buying a home, or selling a home, or investing in real estate that I could call today? And she goes, oh, you're having a contest? Well, Miss Jessie's gonna sell her house.
Wow.
So, right, let that settle in. I mean, I get this idea of like, oh, well, no, we gotta call this person or that person. That's crap. The lady
Or
called
your
me
kid
today.
knows what you do for a living, automatically they're gonna tell you.
Yeah, but she already knows, right? But
Yeah.
did she think about it even telling me until I asked?
No.
No, she did not. Was it because she doesn't like me or care about me or wanted something good? No, it's because she was not asked. She didn't think about it.
I gotta
And that's
tell you
the
right
point.
now, really
That is
quick.
the point.
Yeah.
Here's the key though, to I think his success at that moment was, he was asking his daughter, and as he asked the question, he didn't say a thing after he asked the question. He was just quiet and waited.
Yeah.
To allow that person an opportunity to think.
Right.
Don't feel obligated to cut in and go, or, you know, or.
Right.
Oh, it's okay if you don't know
Yeah,
anybody.
exactly. Or you can either just, you know, quiet,
Yeah,
just
just
shut
be
up.
quiet after.
Just wait.
You can see them thinking too, it's great. If you say it right and you give them the space, if you give it enough time to say each of the phrases, you can see them, you know, their eyes go up or whatever to the right and they're,
Well, give him an example
They're
exactly what you're
thinking.
talking about. Ask me the question.
so who do you know who wants to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate who I could call today?
Perfect. Then
And then
buy a
they're like-
home, sell a home,
What's important about the
Invest in real
way
estate.
you guys are saying it?
pause before the
Right.
impact. Well, because it's gonna be more important, it's gonna make it step aside from the rest of the question that you have.
Yeah,
It's gonna
it
make it
allows the
stand
brain-
out, and it gives the brain a moment to engage in, oh, I'm gonna listen here, and then it gives it a second for the brain to think about what's coming next.
Awesome. Tell me about your purple wristbands. What are those for?
Pain,
Just a reminder.
I was on the.
What's it for? What are you supposed to do with them?
Oh, I won't even tell that story.
okay, it's just, first off, it's a reminder for, you know, what, to be bold, right? Stand out, but also if you're being negative, right, you give it a little bit of a whacky whack. You pull it and snap it
Yeah,
out.
'cause this is about, the
Wake
class,
up,
a lot of the
get out.
class is about lead gen, a lot of it's
Yep.
about mindset,
Yep.
right? And a lot about mindset is, look, we are all scripting ourselves, right? We all have affirmations, that's what it is.
Programming, I think
Well,
programming.
but affirmations in that, so
Yep.
how many of you do affirmations? How many of you do affirmations?
Now we're doing it.
Steve, you do affirmations regularly? Eileen? Okay.
On occasion.
On occasion? Ed?
Occasion.
Okay, you guys?
Occasion.
Occasion? How about,
Skip me?
well, you didn't raise your hand, sorry. And I don't know, I'm Rick, by the way.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Alcott,
Oh.
Napa.
Oh.
I'm your Napa
We,
agent.
we talked on the phone, you
We
helped me get
did.
my sign, okay.
Yeah.
So you do affirmations?
I do.
You do, okay. Guess what? We all do affirmations every day, all day long, right?
Negative.
Right.
So, I mean, that was an important distinction for me, is that, yeah, I'm telling myself stuff all day long, right?
Yep.
Do I make the purposeful good ones, right? I'm a lead generation machine, I love lead generation. Do I have those ones? Or is it the ones that, God, I suck at this,
Yep.
man, this is
I'm
wrong."
always late,
They don't
I'm
wanna talk
always
to me.
late.
I'm always
I don't
late.
want to-
Yeah, exactly. So we're all doing affirmations. The question is, which ones are you doing? Are you being purposeful and so forth? Jim, thanks for coming.
Thanks for the phone call.
I'm a great salesperson.
I'm a great salesperson, right,
That's what we say in
exactly.
class.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about results of what you guys are doing right now.
Okay, the results are both pleasure and pain, which was what we learned about a little bit as well, and we can talk about that another time. But basically, for me, the results are that I mean, there's a media business. There's a media business waiting for you when you ask for it. Period.
Right.
What it is. media businesses available.
What about you, Elizabeth?
I went to my bank yesterday to get a check cash. I talked to 2 tellers. They know my husband because he owns a business.
Mhm.
They're like, we didn't know you were an agent. We're already working with an agent. God, I wish we had really known you were an agent. I was like, yes, so do I. And then we talked more, and then one of them was like, maybe I want to work with you. So it was that idea that you do have to ask every day, because there is an opportunity at any moment, standing in line at the bank, the grocery store, somebody walks by your home and you introduce yourself and you say, I'm a real estate agent. I mean, any person is a lead.
And so the funny thing about that is the pushback on that we always get in coaching is, well, I don't want to be the pariah of my neighborhood. I don't want to be the pariah of my circle of friends, right? What's the real truth about what happens when you ask somebody that? Do they go, ew, I don't want to talk to you?
Some people do, but it's really rare. I would say maybe 1 out of 20, even in door knocking. One person will just give you the cold shoulder, and they give you that look when they walk up to the door, and they never change their expression, and you are out of there so fast.
Right.
But most people, if you can break through that, and some people, if you're just some random person at Whole Foods, for example, doesn't want to really engage. But most people have a story.
Yeah.
And if you listen to their real estate story, then you can then ask.
Get permission, basically.
It's really not hard. That's what
Yeah.
I'm discovering.
Yeah.
I particularly like the randomness of going out in public and talking to people and getting leads that way. Especially if I'm like, I can actually get more, it's more productive for me to get numbers that way. I don't know, it's, again, then it's all about the follow through and following up with people versus your database, but that person's gonna talk to you in the store. You've got somebody right there you can ask.
How's that feel?
What about you, Rick?
What does that mean?
How about results for you?
The results for me is more mindset. I don't have any great stories about how I just took 2 listings that I wouldn't have had because of Boulder.
It's only been 2 weeks.
But what I do have is a sense of empowerment for myself, that I can make these calls and I can have these conversations with people. And I know that the results, and we know that the results comes 90 days down the road anyway. Whatever calls I'm making right now are gonna have an impact over the next 3 months. And so whether I got, some great listing or what, I won't even know. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people went, I hadn't even thought about that. I would love to think about that and let you know. Now, how many of them are gonna call me back? I don't know. The point is that 96 times this week, in the last 7 days, 96 times I've had that conversation with people. Right?
That's huge. There's no way.
I have 4 more
that
that I have to
cannot
do today,
result-
I got 6,
tomorrow.
I got 6
There's
more.
no way that cannot result in an
Exactly.
explosion of
And so
business.
I don't care. The results I'm really not focused on. I'm
Yeah.
focused on the action and the activity.
Excellent.
It's fun.
Right?
It's fun.
Because the good stuff will happen, I know.
It's actually fun.
It's cool
It
that
gives you a
you're saying it's fun.
purpose.
Yeah.
It gives you a purpose every time you go out. I love that.
Yeah.
I have a purpose and a reason to talk to people,
Yep.
and it's fun.
So can I tell you one more quick story
Yeah,
about?
and Emil's got a question, I think.
Two things.
I've got
You're
some
talking
guys.
about engaging people, and it's interesting that when we wear a badge, and Kathy does this all the time,
Yeah, she do that.
and that's a great little opening. Oh, I didn't know you were in real estate. It just
Yeah.
opens the door. And I'm just looking around, how many people are wearing their badges here? Nobody.
Right.
Not even me.
Including yourself.
Yeah, but, I mean,
You
that's
already
just,
know me, so
that's just a little opening. And the other thing I was gonna ask Rick, you've been to bowl before. So what are you getting out of this bowl that you didn't before?
Yeah.
Anxiety attack?
No, that's a good question. So there's 2 things. One is that when I went to bowl before, my circumstances were completely different. I was in desperate times, right? I'm where Barton is now. And I was.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, and so that had its own impact and effect on my life, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting another dizzy spell here. I've been having a problem.
Are you really having a dizzy spell?
Yeah, so then,
Snap your wrist.
That wasn't that tough.
So, and it was a whole different deal. Like for me to make these calls and do all that stuff, I make a really good living and all that. And I want to go to the next level, and it's just having that reminder and that accountability, because I would not be making. I mean, I've had different coaches. Like I need the accountability of both. I need my team members counting on me to do my 100 contacts, and then I also really wanted to be the leader of our little table so that I could have accountability with them as well. I knew that if I was with the whatever you call it, the table leader, the captain or something, if I was with them, if they were counting on me, that I'd be even more accountable to make sure that I was making my calls and reaching out to them. And so that's what's the big difference for me, is that it's not different. It's just that there's accountability and I know that it works.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me dovetail on that just really quickly, that Rick is not the only one that's been through Bold before. There's a couple other people that have been through multiple times.
Some of them
In fact-
produce huge numbers.
My-
And I was gonna say, also some
Yeah.
people that produce huge numbers, some people that are
My
just
accountability partner is
magnitudes.
somebody
Yeah.
who has done it a lot.
Yeah. So for me, what I wanted to share really quick is that I have, like, for me right now, this is like all paradigm shift. Driving home from Rick, I was like, man, I'm not worried about the 20 a day. And he's like, well, you should be. Like, well, I don't think so, because I can ask anybody, anywhere, anytime, that it feels good to get in that rhythm, and it feels great, especially to do it in the morning, right? Well, I'm sweating bullets. I am nowhere near done with my homework. I am blown away at how difficult and challenging it all is. But I also know that I'm taking my business from a hobby to a career. And I've got to do this. And they're giving you the tools to do that. I mean, they give you calendar structure for your day. So I'm in a huge paradigm shift for me. Huge paradigm shift for me.
Another good answer to that question too, also, you know, they talked about mindset a lot. You can hear them talking about mindset. You can hear them with the challenges that they're having and that kind of stuff. The truth of Bold is that it's really not training. I mean, yes, there's training in it. They give you scripts, they teach you neuro-linguistic programming, that kind of stuff. They teach you structure and all that. But the truth of it is it's really conditioning.
It's habit.
It's like working out your lead generation muscle.
Yeah.
You know,
Habit development. That's
Yeah.
what I would call
So,
it.
in Bold,
Yeah.
have you discussed how do you conquer drift? In other words, drift.
Yeah,
In other words, you're into it right now.
How you
A month from now, 2
Jay,
months from
you
now.
sign up for Bold again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.